Alrighty. So, I'm going to present my screen. We have two activities, like two of the little sections that we're going to do for,
And then we turn it in?
well, let me finish my sentence. Two more activities that we're going to do with teens and technology, and then we have the test tomorrow, and then you'll be able to turn it in. I would wait until after. So let's go ahead and open up our teens and technology assignment. I don't think that these two assignments will take us too long, so hopefully we're done about 8:30-ish, 8:45 maybe, tops. Usually we go until 9 o'clock. So I'll give you guys about 1, maybe 2 minutes to go ahead and get the teens and technology assignment opened, please. It depends on what we're doing, yeah. Not everything takes us the full hour. Sometimes it takes us longer than the hour, so we have to go into the next day. It depends. So let's go ahead and get that assignment opened. Okay, teens and technology. Good, it looks like you guys are all heading over there. Letting it load.
Wait, are we out of making anything now?
No.
Oh, wait, can we turn in the other Christianity part?
Yeah.
Is that over there?
Alright, we get about 1 minute and then we will get going. Looks like you guys are getting it opened up. What's wrong?
I'm gonna ask you
Mr. Turner's not here today.
No, for sure no one will do it. What?
Okay, let's go ahead and get going. So we have two things we're going to do today. We're going to start with making meaning under that tab with the bottom one, analyze, craft, and structure. So we're
This and one other one?
yeah, we're going to start here. We're going to kind of look at the author's argument about technology and talk about, we wrote an argumentative essay, so we're going to talk about the claim, the reasons, the counterclaim, and things like that for this specific blog post. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys a second to get there. I'm going to take my jacket off, and then we'll get going. Okay. All right, so under authors, analyze, craft, and structure. Craft and structure, wow. We're going to talk about the author's perspective or the argument that they're posing. So I'm going to read that little paragraph first. It says, this blog post is an example of an argument, which is a type of writing where an author tries to persuade the reader to think or do something specific. All persuasive writing presents a claim. What's a claim? We talked about that.
Like the idea
Kind of.
that the author chose.
Good. The claim is what the author thinks, right? It's their opinion or their position on something.
Yeah.
The author or the writer may include other claims that relate to the main one. Most writers use different types of details to support their claims. These supporting details are called evidence, and they may be any of the following types. Logical reasons, so things that just make sense with your claim. Facts or statements that can be proved true, so statistics and things like that. Quotations from experts, so someone that's an expert on the topic saying something about it. And then examples to help illustrate the idea, so things that help just make your point even more. The author's claim reflects his or her perspective or their viewpoint or their side of the argument. An author's perspective relates to his or her attitudes and experiences. For example, this blogger enjoys technology, so his claim shows that perspective. So if we know that the blogger enjoys technology, he likes it, does his blog posts show that he enjoys technology?
No.
Yeah, he talks about using it for good and all things like that, right?
Yeah.
So he does kind of show that he enjoys technology. Huh? A picture of what? Oh. Okay. So we're gonna answer some questions about this. So under practice, we're gonna we'll do it kind of together, kind of on your own, kind of a mixture, okay? So number one, let's open up that notebook. There's part A and B. Let's start with part A and talk about what is Etienne's claim. I don't know how to say his name. Etienne? Etienne? I think it's Etienne. What's his main claim about technology? That it's good, but let's go a little more specific. Okay, that technology can help with our lives, but who specifically can make it better? What do you mean by us?
Like, you can invent it and make ways that it can be better.
Yes, but what's the name of the story? Teenagers. So that teens can use technology for good. That's kind of his main claim. Teenagers are going to be able to use technology for good. Okay. So that's part A. What's the main claim? So we did that one together so that you guys can do part B on your own. So you might need to go back through the blog post and identify 2 reasons that support his idea that teenagers can use technology for good. So you need to find 2 reasons. So this is on your own. Find 2 reasons to support his claim. Okay, just like it says in the thing. You might need to read back through it a little bit or look at things that maybe you highlighted or anything like that. Find 2 reasons that technology can be used for good, specifically by teenagers. So I'll give you about 3 or 4 minutes on this one. Let you guys look through, find your reasons.
Sometimes that one. Right. It's like,
There's a lot of breakfast over here.
somewhat, can I get a water bottle for sipping it? No. Oh, drink it.
What are we doing?
I don't know who asked that, but we're doing part B on that, finding 2 reasons to support the claim that teenagers can use technology for good. If you're done, you can sit tight and wait for us to do number 2. We're on analyze, craft, and structure, if you showed up a little bit late. Okay, so analyze, craft, and structure. I'll give you guys about 2 minutes on this one, 2 more minutes. Alrighty. So hopefully you found 2 reasons that support that idea. If not, find at least one to write down.
What if we can't find it?
You should be able to find something that supports it. That's what, okay, I was like, that's what this whole thing is about. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at number 2. If you found some reasons already, number 2 should be kind of easy. And number 2 asks you to identify a quotation from the author that Etienne uses to support his claim. So we need to find a quote, well, not a quote, but like find something in the article that supports his claim and quote it about it. So if you already found your reasons, you can probably go back to where you found your reason and find a quote, like the quote that you would pull to write in your own essay about this if you had to. So find a quotation that supports it. You can type word for word exactly what he wrote. Okay.
So part A.
So for part A, you're going back and finding,
Wait, do we have to do it in a quote?
yes, put quotes around it because you're using his words. Yep. So find a quote, anything from his text, his writing, that supports the idea that teens are going to use technology for good. And then just type it word for word, put quotations around it. You're literally taking a quote out of there like you would if you were going to put it in your own essay.
Can I write my own words and then put part of the quote in it?
That's fine too, yeah.
Because it's, a math problem, which is a lot.
That's fine, yeah. Okay, so I'll give you about 2 minutes to find that and type it out. I'll keep eating my breakfast.
Miss Jones,
Yeah.
can we do we have to highlight the ones that are in quotations?
No, you don't need to highlight anything. You just need to type it out in that box.
Okay.
It's not really talking about.
I'm gonna take a Uber.
Okay, about 1 more minute on this one. Yeah. Huh? All right. So that's part A. And then you should be able to answer part B based off of what you chose. Part B just asks, how does the quote help with his argument? So what he wrote, how does it help his argument? So how does what you quoted help his argument? Okay. Does it make it better? Does it make it worse? Is it not a good quote? Is his reason good, basically? So how does that quote help his argument? And this whole number 2 is basically on your own. It's based on what reasons you found. Okay? So how does that help his argument? Okay? Give me another 2 minutes or so on this one. Is this enough time or am I going too quick? Doing okay? Okay. Okay, about 1 more minute. All right. So, number 1 and number 2 are basically on your own type of things. Today's a little bit of an on your own work because we worked with the article for a few days today or this week. So hopefully got kind of a grasp on it. So let's look at number 3. Number 3, part A, says note 2 points at which Etienne says that technology can cause harm. So we're looking for 2 places where he talks about technology being bad. And we'll do this one together.
Oh, I already know it.
Okay, where do you see one down?
What it says,
What paragraph? Sorry.
it
Paragraph 6. Okay.
talks about the deep parts of the sea. And no matter the going
Okay, so
everyone else is
you are still immersed in technology, like everybody's in technology. Okay, so I'm going to highlight that pink. We'll go with pink. And we'll say highlighted in paragraph 6. I'm going to put pink in parentheses just so that we know. So there's one instance. Everybody's just immersed in technology all the time. Okay, and then we need one other time where Etienne mentions that technology could be harmful. Where else do you guys see that? If you look through. That's okay. Take a minute, look through it. See if you can find another place where he talks about technology possibly being harmful. Most of what he talks about is positive about technology. There is one spot in paragraph 2 that might be an instance of going against how technology is good. It's not a very big reason, but it's a small one. Paragraph 8, Maddie. Possibly paragraph 8, where he talks about we don't want to make our problems worse. That could be a good one too. So I'm going to highlight that one pink. We can write that one. We'll get 3. So highlighted in paragraph 8 in pink. Huh? And then did anybody find the one in paragraph 2 that I kind of mentioned? Yes, go ahead.
It created a new role for everyone.
Well, that's a good thing. Well, yeah, I think so. Kind of near the end of the paragraph. Something that could be bad about technology.
Oh, you come on with the wrong answer.
Yeah, sometimes you come up with the wrong answer with technology. Sometimes it doesn't lead you in the right direction. So maybe you even come across the wrong answer. It's something that might be a little bit bad about technology sometimes. So this one also highlighted in paragraph 2 in pink. Okay, now that's just part A of the question. We got part B and C still to do. So, part B, we've talked about this a little bit, but why would he admit that there's something that goes against his idea? What's the point of giving a counterclaim? Good, to show that there's two sides to the argument.
How good it is.
Good. So if you're going to talk about how good something is, there's also always a little bit of a downside to something. So it's just going to show that there are two sides to an argument. Okay. I'll give you guys a minute to type these ones out. These were a little bit long. Okay. So like we've talked about, you give opposite sides of your argument just to show that there are two sides. You can't just kind of be like, nope, I'm all right. Nothing's ever wrong. Right? So you got to give the other side of the argument too. And then part C asks how this makes his side better. I know, I'll give you guys a second to type, but why does giving the other side make his argument better? Any ideas? And so essentially it's asking, how does giving a counterclaim strengthen your argument?
To show that you know that there are downsides to your argument.
Yeah, so it shows there are downsides. It shows there are downsides. So if it shows there are downsides, what can you then do to help show that you're still correct? So you say that
ways to improve that downside?
Yeah, you can basically prove it wrong and say, okay, yes, there's this downside, but I still think that I'm right because of this, this, and this. So then you can prove it wrong. So it shows there are downsides, and then you can prove those wrong. Right? So you give your counterclaim, give the opposite side of your argument, show that there are bad sides of your argument, but then prove them wrong. Oh, not ring. Prove them wrong. Spelled it wrong. Okay. I'm going to give you guys about 3 or 4 minutes to get that all typed out. It's kind of a lot of typing, so I'll give you a few minutes. No, just a little bit of it.
Miss Jones.
Yeah.
I just clicked on menu and it shows a glossary of all the words that may be hard.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, any words that might be things that you don't know. That's really cool. And then there's a second notebook that you can just type anything that you want to type out about the story. Keep in mind that I can still see it though. Yeah. All right, I'll give you about 1 more minute. Is that enough time to finish this part up? Okay. All right. It actually looks like you guys are all done. I don't see anybody typing anymore. So let's go ahead and move on. So we have, I think, one more question. Number 4. Number 4 says, Etienne, I can't say his name. Etienne compares computer technology to a variety of different things. So he does a lot of comparing in here. So we're going to open up this chart and analyze whether each of the comparison makes his ideas more clear or if it doesn't, if it has a different effect and you get more confused by it. Because we had one instance with the Indiana Jones one that you guys were kind of like, that was a little bit confusing. We didn't really get that. So after you think about it a lot, right, you kind of get it, but initially it's not a very strong comparison. At first you're like, that's kind of hard to get until we talked about it more, right? So let's open up this chart and we'll do it semi together. So, like we said, he compares technology to different things. So our first comparison, I cannot talk today, is that he's comparing technology to windows into a new world. Yeah, do we think that's a good comparison that he's comparing technology into? How? That's true. But it doesn't necessarily just mean video. Windows into a new world means that you have the ability to kind of look up anything and see anything, really. So if you want to learn about the Holocaust, that's where the Nazis took over Germany. It's World War II. The Holocaust happened in World War II. My grandparents were in World War II as well. That's cool. So a window into a new world means that you can look back in time and see new things because technology gives you that ability. So do you think that this has a good or a bad effect? You got to make a choice on this one.
A good effect.
A good one?
Yeah.
No, not both. So we think that this is a good effect, and then tell me why. I want you guys to tell me why. Why do you think? Or if you think it's bad and it didn't work for you, tell me why. So you either write good or bad, like it's a good effect or a bad effect. So it works or it does not. And then tell me why you think that. Okay. Why do you think this was a good comparison, or why do you think it was a bad comparison?
You know, he still has his army jeep in his house, on my grandma does.
That's pretty cool.
Because he is on our phone and that's actually I even got to ride in that army jeep.
That's pretty cool. Okay, is it a good or a bad effect? And tell me why.
Do you remember The Price is Right? Or, you remember that show? My grandma wants $16,000.
That's pretty cool.
Purple Dodge.
I'd like to win something like that. That'd be
I
nice.
don't know where to go when I was but if I was in the room, I'd probably get the answer wrong just like it's all done with it.
All right, let's look at our next one. Stones in a river. So this is comparing technology to stones in a river. What do you think? Good or bad? Just right off the bat. What do you think? Does it make sense, or does it?
No, it doesn't, it's bad.
Yeah, it does. It does. So some of you guys think it does not make sense. So technology is like stones in a river. Yes or no?
Bad.
Bad. I don't really like it either.
It doesn't even sound right.
Yeah. So tell me if you think this is a good or a bad comparison. If you don't get it, then it's a bad comparison because you don't understand what he's trying to compare, right? If you're like, yeah, that makes sense, you could say it's a good comparison and then tell me why. If you're like, no, that doesn't make sense. I don't know why this is gray. Yeah. So tell me if it's a good or a bad comparison, and then tell me why you think that. And I don't know why this is gray, but I can't change it. So, yeah. Yeah, during my lesson.
When you're playing on Xbox.
Oh. Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me if you think that this one is a good or a bad comparison, and then tell me why. Okay. Maybe about one more minute, and then we have one more to do on this section. Maybe we'll go a little bit longer than I thought we would. Oh well.
Miss Jones.
Yeah.
I bet if we read about the stones in the river, we actually get it.
We might, yeah, if we really talked about it. I think that his comparison was like technology is like stones in a river because you can. No, I think he was talking about like picking them up, and it's little pieces of information that you gather together to create a bigger picture. Yeah. But the initial comparison is not like, I get it. That's true. We had different guesses about what it meant, so that does show that it's not the greatest of comparisons. But we also need to remember that the kid who wrote this was 12 when he wrote it, I think.
Yeah.
So there is that we got to think about. All right, let's do the last one here. It says superpowers. So technology is like a superpower.
Yes.
Good or a bad comparison? And tell me why. So good or bad, tell me why.
Wait, from him comparison?
Just in general, do you think that him comparing technology to a superpower was a good comparison or a bad one? And sorry, it's gray. I don't know why it turns gray in the boxes below. It's weird. So technology is like a superpower. Tell me why.
Wait, because
I'll wake up at 4.
it's I put in this grid because it can save people by saying that they need to go to the ER.
Okay.
Sorry, I know what
Morning. Alrighty. I'll give you about 1 more minute to finish up this chart, and then we're going to move on to our second section that we're doing today.
I thought this was really quick.
I thought so too, and then we were talking more in depth about things than I thought we would, so that's okay.
Which one are you doing, the word study?
No. We're going to do more with the vocabulary.
Oh, technical vocabulary.
Yep. So, we're going to go ahead and close.
Do we get to
The chart.
write and put sentences with using those words?
I believe so, yeah. So, I'm going to go ahead and close the analyze, craft, and structure. That was kind of a long one. Yep. And that also means that we have finished making meaning. And we did all of the sections in making meaning. So, yep, we did all of them. So make sure that you go back and have something written in all of those, or watch the videos if you didn't see the lessons to know which ones you absolutely need to do and which ones are kind of, okay? So under language development, the only one we're going to do is technical vocabulary. So you can go ahead and open that one up, and I'll give you about a minute to finish up what you were doing and get there, please. Technical vocab. That is the one we're going to do this time.
Miss Jones, didn't you say we weren't going to do this one?
What do you mean?
I can understand that.
Like,
I don't know if I said we weren't going to. If I did, I changed my mind.
Do what?
Do this section. Okay. It looks like a lot of you guys are there. Have it open. Looking good. Okay, let's go ahead and look at it. So we had these three words in our blog post. Microchips, which we know are little pieces of computer technology that have a circuit that helps the computer run, or whatever technology. Cell phones have microchips, things like that. We learned about trigonometry, which is a type of math that has to do with triangles. You usually do it in high school. You don't really do it before then. And then we learned about pixels, which are little tiny squares on screens that make the video happen, or the picture even happen. There's like thousands of them on your computer screen right now. So it says, why these words? Like other fields, the technology industry has its own specialized vocabulary. These three technical vocabulary words are part of this specialized vocabulary. So if you're in a room with a bunch of people that know a ton about technology, they're probably using words like this a lot. Whereas in our classroom, are we going to use these three words very often?
No.
No, not really. We're not really talking about technology that in depth. So number one here says, how does the technical vocabulary sharpen the reader's understanding of the blogger's opinion about technology? So when Etienne uses these words, how does that help us understand his knowledge about technology?
But you think it's good?
He thinks technology is good. Does he know a lot about technology?
Yes.
So he thinks technology is good. And based on the words he uses, he knows a lot about it. Okay, so using those big words, like, well, big words, but the specialized vocabulary from computer people kind of shows us that he has a pretty good idea on what types of things are needed in technology. Oh, what did I write?
Oh,
Yeah, more like, there you go. Technology is good. Okay, I'll give you a minute on number one just to finish typing that out.
is that it for that one?
Yes, that's all we're answering for number one. All right, so for number two, let me close number one. Number two, it says, what other words in the blog post connect to this concept? So if we go back and we look through, let's find three words that also are pretty technology based. Three words that you might hear in a room full of computer programmers and not 12-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
So if we're looking through, and
I'll use their knowledge.
probably, so go ahead and take about 2 minutes and just kind of scan the article and find three words that might have to do with technology that you wouldn't hear normally.
Oh, I got one. Did anybody want any more fancy?
Anybody want any more fancy? I don't think so. We still have a couple left to think it up. There's fancy things there, okay. So like I said, take about 2 minutes, scroll through, maybe highlight the words write them down
It's
somewhere.
already highlighted on the one.
Yeah. And I'll give you about 1 more minute to find a couple words that might be super technology based, things that you're like, I don't really know what that means, but I know it's about technology. And if you're struggling to find any, I would say that paragraph 2 has quite a few in there that you might want to look at. Okay. Alrighty. So we're not going to write complete sentences on number 2. We're just going to type out the words. So, who has a word that, Charlie, go ahead. Just start with one.
Okay.
What paragraph?
Trigonometry?
Well, we already have trigonometry. We need other words.
Oh, I got one.
Yeah, down, what's one?
Immersed.
Immersed. That's more of just a vocabulary word. That just means that you're going deep in something, not...
Well, then the other one.
Input methods.
Okay, so Elijah says input methods. That's a good one. I'll highlight it blue.
Wait, do we have to highlight them?
No, I just am doing it. So input methods.
What about humanity?
Humanity is more of humans. Doesn't have to do with technology.
What is
Operating methods.
Good. Operating systems is another one. But Charlie, you're supposed to find the ones that were not already our vocabulary words. We had to find different words.
But immersed wasn't.
Yes, but immersed, it doesn't necessarily have to do with technology. It just means that you're like, you think something, like you are surrounded by something, kind of.
Online.
Yeah. Any other ones?
Online.
Online. I don't know where that is, but here's one. Online is definitely a technology thing. Okay, I'm going to stop there, but if you found any other ones, feel free to write them in there. Okay, I'll give you about a minute on this one.
And that's it?
Yes, we're only typing out the words on this one, words that could have also been technology based. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and explain the next part, the practice part. Before we actually do it, down on number 2, we're going to skip this one. You're not going to have to do number 2, so you can just write skip on that.
I'm gonna fold it.
Okay, so you're not doing number 2, which means you're only doing number 1. And you're using our 3 vocabulary words in a sentence. You're going to write your own sentence. So 3 sentences. So number 1, write a sentence using, what's our first word? Microchips. Microchips. Number 2, yes.
Do they have to be separate sentences or all one sentence?
Do separate sentences.
So like bullet points
Yeah.
of like what they mean.
Trigonometry.
Of like what they mean.
You don't even have to tell me what they mean. You just need to write a sentence where it uses the word correctly.
So like a dog is a microchip.
Yes, but we use microchips in terms of computers, not the, yeah. So what's our last one? Pixels. So you're writing 3 sentences here. Number 1, write a sentence using microchips in terms of technology. Number 2, write a sentence using trigonometry. And number 3, write a sentence using pixels. This is the last thing we're doing. So once you write those 3 sentences, those of you that are online, once you write them, you're free to go. Those of you here, once you write them, work on something educational.